Hey, everybody. Happy 2026. So, today we're talking about the five big mistakes that early retirees make. So, most people think that saving for retirement, being disciplined, putting aside, going without are the difficult things of retiring early, but it's not. It's not those things that really can derail your early retirement. It's the five mistakes that most people don't consider. So, today that's what we're going to talk about. So, mistake number one is overspending, thinking that spending equals freedom of free cash flow. Unfortunately, that's a mistake that we don't want to make our first year in retirement. We want to make sure that we set boundaries and guidelines, and so we know what we can spend that first year. Second mistake is not having a good handle on our expenses. Knowing what we spend monthly, what our static bills are, costs are, that's important going into retirement. And hopefully, as you've prepared, you know what your existing expenses are so that when something abnormal happens, a roof leak, some type of appliance fails, you have a plan already in place to be able to go to your high yield savings account and pull out that money to take care of that expense. So it doesn't derail your first year of early retirement. Third mistake that early retirees make is underestimating the healthcare cost. As we know, getting older comes with a variety of unexpected issues. And so anticipating that you may need to contribute more to your healthcare during the time of early retirement where you're not yet covered on Medicare. Um, that's things that we need to make sure that we have a good handle on prior to retiring so that we're not caught off guard when a medical situation arises and we didn't plan for it. Another mistake that early retiree sometimes brings is that loss of identity. When we're so used to having an established routine, sometimes it's overwhelming when you don't have any responsibilities. And although it's freedom to do whatever you want, sometimes that unstructured day, week, month can become loneliness. And so you need to have a good idea about what you plan on spending your time on and really what drives you and what gives you fulfillment and purpose. So that's a mistake that some early retirees don't consider. And hopefully that's something that you're thinking about now. There's so many wonderful things about early retirement, but you really have to already have kind of a blueprint, a plan of what you think early retirement involves and how to make the most out of it. And the final mistake that early retirees sometimes make is really not being flexible and adjusting their expectations. Retirement isn't as predictable as a job. You are the ultimate driver in what it becomes and what it is. And so having an expectation and being flexible with that expectation is something that I think makes early retirement more fulfilling because ultimately you determine what you want to get out of it. And being flexible really helps you to kind of, you know, start and stop things as they bring fulfillment. A lot of times we have these lofty goals of what we think it's going to be, but sometimes it doesn't work out. And so you just have to be flexible and be okay with readjusting and pivoting and doing something different. But you definitely want to go into it, with a little bit of a plan of what you think will be fulfilling. So, those are the five common mistakes of early retirees that most people don't talk about. Which one surprised you the most? And which one do you think would cause you the most difficulty if you didn't address it beforehand? So, hopefully, those helped. Hopefully, they gave you a few ideas about what to expect. And hopefully, you're more prepared so that you don't have to deal with any of these common mistakes. Okay, talk to you soon. Subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
I'm free.